Time to reveal our surprise celebrity guest here to answer the question. We want to know, are we born with rhythm? I know I was.
Yeah,
Said nobody.
And then he lost it at
right?
puberty.
Star, professional dancer, podcast host. Those are your three clues. Ben, did you have a guess?
Carrie Ann and Alba.
Okay.
Or
please.
Aaron
That was my guess, too.
Welcome, Dancing with the Stars pro and co-host of the Pretty Messed Up podcast. You were all wrong, Cheryl Burke.
I said Cheryl Burke. I did. Cheryl Burke.
No, okay. Betty said every Dancing with the Stars
But I did say
person's
Cheryl
name,
Burke.
and Cheryl Burke, you just happen to be
My Asian
included.
American sister, right? I got it. That's right.
Cheryl, good to
are
have
you
you here.
guys?
Good to have you here. We are doing well, and so please put this argument to rest. Are you born with rhythm, or do you develop it throughout your life? I think I was born two left feet.
Well, I think you are born with rhythm, but it just depends on like if you've been listening to music when you were pregnant, if you were dancing as you were pregnant. I think that has a lot to do with it. I don't know if there's an actual, I don't know if it's genetic, but my mom definitely has rhythm, so there you go.
So it's the influences around you, right?
Yeah, I think that's key.
That's interesting because we played a ton of music for our first child, Adrian, when he was in the womb area, and not a lot for Miles, our second child. And our first child goes ballistic with music, and Miles just like acts like a lunatic. Like Adrian actually tries to dance, and Miles just like blah, 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 blah. So I wonder if that does have something to do with it.
I don't. You know, Cheryl,
I mean,
it's one of those things where the music comes on, and I dance like nobody's watching. So
You should.
As you should, right?
People
that's
stop
what-
watching.
But what is the you danced for years and Dancing with the Stars in your whole life, really. But what is the hardest thing about dancing to learn?
On Dancing with the Stars, it's about just learning it in less than a week and then having to perform live in front of millions of people. But the hardest part, it just looks a lot easier than it is. There's so many details that go like from step to step, right? So it doesn't just like come together, and you have to dance with a partner. So you're really working, with like lead and follow, and being able to still have chemistry and look like you're not thinking about the choreography, even though you are.
I mean, that's part of the hard issue when it comes to dancing, because you want to just kind of let go and let the rhythm take you, but then you're not following the right steps and you look kind of crazy. So how do you, I guess for those of us whose mothers weren't dancing while we were in the womb and we didn't get that gene, how do we grasp it? Because I know you can learn it, right?
Totally. Yeah, you can learn it. You can learn it just like you could, learn a different others, like a skill like horseback riding or soccer or basketball. But at the end of the day, with ballroom, it's very exaggerated. So your body has never moved a certain way before, and you're working in opposition. So like we do, everything is like big and grand, right? But like if you were to ask a hip hop dancer just to do what I did, they'd be more down here. And it's all about like posture, and your energy needs to be going up towards the ballroom where the audience used to be, and up in the balconies.
There you go. Marisol?
That's so interesting because, first of all, hi, you look lovely.
Sure does.
Thank you.
I'm such a huge fan. I always marvel at when the professional athletes come on, because I feel like they catch on quicker than other contestants. Is that your observation? And I'm trying to jar my memory. I can't remember if you had a partner that was a professional athlete. I'm sure you did.
Oh yeah, I've been on 23 seasons, so I've definitely had my share of athletes, and I actually prefer athletes because they don't stop rehearsing. So just because we're done at the studio doesn't mean that they're done like imagining it or manifesting what's going to happen. It's like I danced with Emmett Smith back in season 3.
Who I
and
thought it was.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and he told me that he basically goes home and he writes it all down, and so the next day he's like a perfect student. Athletes are like perfect students. They also don't mind that a girl's barking at them literally all day long. There's no ego, right?
Yeah.
And they're used to being coached, so they're just the easiest to work with, I have to admit.
There you go.
And I wonder how that factors into the rhythm portion of it.
Well, some have rhythm and like some
Right.
It's like stiff.
And
Emmett was shocking, actually. At first when I walked in, this was back in the day, season 3, right? And I was like, oh gosh, I went from a boy bander to a football player. I was like, this is not going to go well, but it went great.
Last season, you were back with another boy bander, right, from AJ McLean.
Yes.
And from that, it kind of parlayed into your next career move, which was your podcast called Pretty Messed Up. What's the premise of the podcast?
So we were going to be podcast hosts before I even knew he was going to be on Dancing with the Stars. So it was kind of like a friendship waiting to happen and a podcast co-host waiting to happen. But the reason why the producer of iHeart wanted us to come together and do this podcast is because we're both recovering addicts, and we are very open with our story, and we want to be able to spread awareness when it comes to mental health and having those uncomfortable conversations.
Oh, I love it. OG?
Yeah.
Well, no, I was going to ask you a question, because one of the challenges I took on the show was to do the entire Napoleon Dynamite challenge. And you would be so impressed, Cheryl. Like, you would give me a disco ball for my performance, because you can tell that I have rhythm even doing a dance like that. So here's my thing. My dream is to learn the entire Beyonce Everybody's Scared dance from Beychella.
Oh, yeah.
So and for Napoleon Dynamite, I took it like move by move, and I kept rehearsing it. Is that the best way to go if I want to impress Beyonce with my Everybody's Scared? Yeah.
I think it's all about repetition. Even Beyonce says it. You got to outwork your, backup dancers. You got to outwork everybody, and it's about like getting it into your body so the muscle memory starts to activate, and it just becomes second nature, so that you can work on the details and performance aspects. So yeah, it's repetition, like giving it forwards and backwards a million times.
There you go.
Okay,
OG.
Cheryl, if you could take your pick, who would you want to dance with?
Me.
No, not Dan. That would not be on the list.
Carlton?
That's a good question. I mean, every season it changes. I'm thinking maybe this next season. I'm not confirmed. I don't know if I'm going back yet, but I do believe we need Gronkowski.
Oh, wow. That
there
would be
you
good.
go.
You won't.
He
There you
did.
go.
I know.
Yeah.
He
He
strikes me
did
as fun.
Masked Singer.
Fresh
Oh,
off
right,
his Super
right.
Bowl
Oh, he
win.
did?
He did
Yeah.
Masked Singer, and
He might be game.
well, yeah.
Or Tom Brady. I'll take Tom Brady.
Oh, okay.
Boy, you.
Any of the above, right?
I just want to see Tom
at the
Brady
top,
bad at
don't
something.
ya?
Hey, Cheryl, first off, just about the podcast, thank you for doing that, because
Yeah.
I think it is something that needs to be talked about, and for people like you and from different walks of life, right? So you have the Backstreet Boys, and now you have you being a professional dancer, and just hearing that people talk about things and normalizing it makes other people feel like it's okay. I also want to just highlight this other thing that you're doing, which is pretty cool. You're pairing with the Bailey Blue clothing company to release a mask of your own.
Oh, that's pretty.
What?
That's
Now that is
Yep,
style.
girl,
that's
I'm
nice.
telling you. So we launched about a year ago, and we are now coming out with Mommy and Me masks. So, for your daughter
Yes.
or whatever going to ballet class, they've been wanting. So this is the Rumba mask, and this has been the most popular so far. And I have teamed up with Bailey Blue, and you can find more info on
These are cool.
BaileyBlueClothing.com. But what the main thing about these masks is the fact that you can breathe in them, right? You can actually do like a full dance routine
There you
wearing
go.
a mask without feeling claustrophobic, like you can't
Oh,
breathe.
that's fantastic.
Will it mess up my lipstick on my face?
Nothing
No,
will
girl,
mess up
it
your
doesn't even
lipstick.
touch your lips.
It doesn't.
See?
Run,
we
don't
got to get
walk.
ourselves some Bailey Blues.
Run,
Because
don't
you
walk,
should
don't
see
touch
me
it.
after I wear my mask. My entire face, I'm like Ronald McDonald 2.0, like all over the
Well,
place.
on the show, they made us wear masks till right before we went live, and I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I can't wear red lips ever.
Yeah.
Well, you guys don't wear
Yeah.
makeup on that show, so it's fine.
It's fine. We wake up like this.
Yeah.
Cheryl Burke, thank you for what you're
So
doing.
great to see you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for being our surprise
Cheryl.
guest. Appreciate you.
Thank you for
Thank
having me.
you.
All right, and you know what, Cheryl? Next time you're in New York, you're gonna come. We're
Yes.
gonna dance together. Okay?
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be
For
vaccinated.
sure.
We
Watch
can
out.
dance.
Threat.
All
I'll
right.
dance with all of you.
That's a scary sight. That'd be really.
We can do it right now. We can all do
Scare
this
you.
together right now.
Here we go.
There you go.
Oh no, I don't.
There it is. There it is.
All
I think
right.
I have a little bit of a delay.
It's all good. You're in it. The
all
delay.
right.
We are on a constant
You
delay
won't
with
delay
dancing,
is
so
better
We're
you,
not on-
live
you catch up to us.
in real time.
All right, Cheryl. Thank
Cheryl.
you.
Great to see you.
Bye. Thank you.